Either way, it's too dangerous. We need to get out of here, or else... Given the circumstance, the most logical course of action would be to give up. By all means, go ahead. Kaito! You are supposed to say that before you hit him! One moment, please. I'm rewinding the tape right now. Right there. Less than 10 seconds remain. Look! The piranhas! Ah! I apologize. I've been neglecting my needs ever since I got here. Oh, thank you? Careful, be gentle. That tickles. You definitely know what you're doing, too. If you keep this up, I just might... Oh! Our platform is the wholesale eradication of the killing game. Just leave it to me. I will become the guiding light that shines on you all. She's sleeping very peacefully. I have told you many times that I do not use oil as my fuel source. I saw flyers all over the city, too. They said, mankind deserves damnation. Kaito, please stop. There is never a good reason to commit violence. Even minor aggressions can lead to atrocities such as murder. You mean this? Out of curiosity, what happens if you switch the chords? Well, I guess we'll just have to be careful not to switch the chords then. I didn't know that coughing up blood was a cold symptom. Shuichi, please! If the press comes to a stop when it detects a person, what will happen if it detects me? Let's find out. Don't worry. If I sense any danger, I'll move out of the way. I just really want to try it out. If I don't, I'll never be able to rest in peace when I die. Certainly. Now, if you would be so kind, start it up. What's going on? I thought only the monocubs could control the exosols. I was in my lab trying to think of what I should write to convince Kokichi. That's when I saw her walking toward the hangar, clutching something in her hands. I think it was a black bag. It's quiet, too quiet, and yet this silence is quite refreshing. I used to hear my inner voice with perfect clarity. It would fill me with the power of hope, guide me along the right path. I can't hear it anymore. All I hear now is silence. That silence means my will is now my own, even if despair is all we have to choose. Even if hope no longer exists, I will never give in to despair. I will end this. No matter what, I will force this to end. This school, this ultimate academy for gifted juveniles, is steeped in despair, and I will destroy it. Did you call for me? Please keep it brief. I have other matters I must attend to. No, I won't let you run amok anymore. This killing game is over. In the name of Hope's Peak Academy, the symbol of hope itself, I will destroy the Ultimate Academy and bring down this monument to despair. Just stay put, for now. It's almost dawn, like we agreed. Have you found what you were looking for? Are you ready to do what must be done, Shuichi? Either way, this is your last chance. So, what is this other way? A class trial? I see it. I'll print out this memory. Start talking, now, or I'll squish you one by one. Whatever function you serve, you'll be unable to carry it out. Do you accept these terms? They call themselves nanokumas. Apparently they're members of the monocubs. Not quite. These don't exist as individuals, but rather as a hive mind. They travel through the air in a swarm, covering every square inch of this campus. And their function is to record footage of the events that are unfolding here and transmit it to Monokuma. Using their tiny cameras, they record footage and transmit it wirelessly. Mother Kuma receives the footage and parses it before sending it off to Monokuma. It's the will of the outside world. Destroy this entire fictional world and end the killing game. That is what the outside world wants. But communication is the foundation of any discussion. Does everyone really think that? Perhaps the culprit took the card key after killing Rantaro. Does that mean the culprit and the mastermind are one and the same? So you knew nothing about the trap in the library? We can dismiss those four as potential culprits if they were together the entire time. So the culprit is among those seven? Punching is permitted in Aikido? If you cannot enter the hallway, how would you open the rear door to the library? Even if a person couldn't fit through the space, a shot put ball certainly would. That Roomba remark is probably not about me, as I have a variety of custodial functions. These photos were taken moments before Rantaro was killed. Are you referring to me? Where would they have hidden? We cannot continue until we address that problem first. Have you been paying attention? The camera would have taken their picture. So, for 30 seconds, anyone could have entered the library without their photo being taken? It's certainly plausible, considering that Shuichi knew about the intervals. If that is true, then the entire premise of the argument thus far is wrong. I cannot imagine why anyone would risk their life to lie on another's behalf. That is a harmful stereotype. I can produce heartfelt remarks through calculations. No, I still think it is too soon to determine the culprit. Kaede is the one who actually had the receiver. Same room, circumstance, and camera. And yet, there is a disparity in brightness. Huh? Where she used the shot put ball? I am skeptical that she could perform such a feat of accuracy. Kill the mastermind? Ryoma died during Himiko's magic show. No, Himiko only had 60 seconds to escape from the tank. Even if they changed places at the start of the show, that's insufficient time to drown someone. Could that mean his body was hidden until the culprit made it appear in the tank? How did Himiko escape the water tank? In which case, a person could exit and leave water inside the staircase. The dormitory is stocked with uniforms. Did you hide one behind the stage in advance? That seems unlikely. There isn't enough space for 2 people to fit in there. Then the culprit never would have considered hiding inside the staircase with the body. Entering the staircase after moving the body is much faster, and seems more rational too. After all, there was only enough space for Himiko. If he was last seen at 8 p.m. and was killed before nighttime officially began. But Miu, you don't have an alibi for when the crime occurred either, do you? I apologize, but given the circumstances, we have no choice but to suspect you. What is your alibi? Did you really leave the gym at 9 p.m.? Are you sure you did not stay at the gym? Forgot? It seems far more plausible that you were telling another lie. Was that supposed to offend me? Your irrationality fills me with pity. Most of that was unintelligible nonsense, but it would seem that Miu has an actual alibi. Yes, that is true. How illogical. This is even more difficult to comprehend than Kokichi's antics. Only baseless conjecture. So Ryoma was still alive at nighttime? But why did Maki wait until now to mention that? Maki admitted earlier that she hadn't checked her Cubs pad. Then, who was it that told Ryoma about his Cubs pad? Then why did you wait until now to bring that up? No, we need to wait. There is still more to confirm. This is difficult to determine. However, it should be clear now that the crime occurred after nighttime began. I don't think so. We have evidence to prove that's what happened. That means it was certainly possible to put the body in the piranha tank from the window. Well then, let's discuss the crime scene to figure out who the culprit is. But the cause of death was drowning. There is nothing in his room that could collect enough water. Yes, though they were only visible for a brief moment when Ryoma appeared in the tank. I am certain he was wearing the handcuffs at the time. We keep hitting dead ends since we don't know how the body was thrown into the gym. According to the sign at the pool, the width of the pool is roughly 35 feet, and the distance from the edges of the pool to the windows is an additional 16 feet. Altogether, the sum total length from one window to the other is roughly 50 feet. Wait, who asked you last time? It is quite possible that the culprit went to you to confirm the details of their plan. But if the culprit was so careful to recover the rope they used to commit the crime, why did they leave the inner tube in the pool? Is this true, Kirumi? Those scratches are proof that you used a rope to carry the body to the windowsill. Kirumi, why are you becoming increasingly erratic? Well, Kirumi, will you allow us to compare the black fabric we found in the pool with your gloves? So she must have been killed before the ritual was complete, since the book was still intact. Can we trust their friendship so readily? I will let that remark slide. Anyway, aren't these accusations just a tad too hasty? Hey, stick up for me too. And I'm not the culprit either. Jeez, I'm not the culprit. We must consider other possibilities. Surely there must be suspects outside the student council. Is that a robophobic remark? If it was not part of the ritual, then it must have been for a different purpose, right? I see. So the culprit used the katana's counterspin to push the lock into place? Which is why the culprit chose to strike at nighttime as to avoid detection. If that's the case, then Kokichi's confession earlier was actually... That contradicts what you said earlier, which I can prove using my recording function. Yes, it is difficult to formulate a logical response to that question. For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects. Huh? Now hold on a second. I said hold on a second! Hold on a second! Well, I'm so sorry. I just don't remember. Really, I'm sorry. Shuichi, I'm so sorry. And just because I have a built-in flashlight function does not mean I am the culprit. So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit. You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence. I neither want nor need your pity. Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage. So who lifted the cage? If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage. Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the seance? If you know something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery. Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance? Bringing the victim to the sickle rather than bringing the sickle to the victim. That's definitely an unorthodox idea. By cutting the crosspiece beneath the floorboard, you mean? You were quite vocal about the seance, Kyo. You even had instructions for it in your lab. What's wrong, Himiko? Then she needs to defend herself. Otherwise, this debate is deadlocked. The culprit gambled on the middle room being picked through coincidence? That seems highly improbable. So the culprit prepared a trap in all 3 empty rooms, not just the middle one. Do not say everyone. After all, the blackened is still among us. What is so funny? I see. So Kyo traced the magic circle with his hands to get to the loose floorboard. Everyone, may I have your attention, please? Excuse me, everyone, may I have your attention, please? Hey, may I have your attention? I apologize. I just wanted everyone to listen to me. I had Miu add another function to my body, in addition to the flashlight. Please, let me use it! With it, I might be able to save everyone. It's an image recording function. Specifically, this function allows me to dispense a printout of my own memory. I'll give it a try. Ready? This printout is my memory of being kicked out of the seance. Please confirm that the floor of the empty room is clearly visible. Go on, take the picture and see for yourself. Well, Shuichi, do you notice anything? I understand how you feel, Himiko, but maybe we can discuss this rationally and calmly. There is a non-zero possibility that Kyo is telling the truth. Of course I understand. I work really hard to understand. No, it's too dangerous to vote before we arrive at a logical decision. We don't know for certain that Kyo killed Angie, except for candles. Then, did she seek out a candle so she could burn the book? It must have fallen as the fatal blow was dealt, and ended up under her body. In terms of pure logic, only one victim was necessary to win. Good point. Had the floorboard been in place, her blood wouldn't have splattered beneath it. What are you talking about? I do not understand a word of this. We should focus on the class trial. First, we need to clarify, if Miu was killed in the virtual world, then the next thing we need to figure out is what caused her to incur fatal damage within the virtual world. Let's begin then. It's possible she was pushed from a great height, but is strangulation even possible in the virtual world? If the avatars were equally strong, it would be difficult to strangle a resisting victim. A fitting end? I do not fully understand that logic. Perhaps the culprit prepared a backup weapon, just in case. No? But who else but the culprit would bring a hammer? Let's assume that Miu brought the hammer. What was she planning to do with it? I overheard them talking about it at the chapel. If she did place the poison without us noticing, then she must have logged out at some point. I see. With that cell phone, she could force anyone to log out at any time. If we are going to begin searching for the culprit, let's start with Kokichi's story. Then who locked the door to the roof? So, what is this strange circumstance? A bridge would be the only way to get across. Then, how did she get to the mansion from the chapel? A hidden route that only Miu could use to get across. I suppose it is possible she used that to change places. Was there really? Kokichi, please refrain from making such irrelevant and irrational remarks. I wonder what the truth is. There's no way to find out now. You all heard that sound too? But that sound occurred near the chapel. How did you hear it all the way at the mansion? You heard my voice too? Why would she leave the signboard where it could get swept away and leave her stranded? The same wall? If that's true, it would explain the way the signboard was swept away. It vanished into the wall downstream of the river, came out of that same wall upstream, and floated with the current until it got caught on the rocks, where the loop starts. Doesn't it loop at the walls next to the mansion and chapel? I see. So the mansion and chapel were near each other, with a wall between them. And any sounds emitted near the chapel would also reach the mansion. The wall only allows non-humans to pass through, so sound should be able to pass through easily. As for Miu's alibi in the real world, she could say she was locked into the virtual world, and in the virtual world, she could say she was near the chapel the entire time. Anyway, let's continue the discussion. If Miu was killed on the roof of the mansion, the culprit must have moved Miu's avatar to the chapel after killing her, right? Only Miu was able to go through that wall. The culprit wouldn't have been able to. A way of transporting Miu's avatar that would cause it to crash into the chapel. In the real world, it might be difficult. But in the virtual world, perhaps not. The impact made all of her belongings scatter, including the hammer and cell phone. However, since we know she was killed on the roof, we can narrow down the list of suspects. Meaning, the culprit must be someone who was investigating the mansion. Aside from Miu, the people at the chapel could not go through the wall or cross the river. Is this a sincere reaction? I believe Shuichi 100%! And no matter how naive Gonta may be, I doubt he would ever team up with Kokichi. In which case, even if she did resist, the most she could have done is merely touch the culprit. We might as well discuss it. As a precautionary measure, that's all. I think we need to seriously discuss whether Gonta was capable of committing this crime. Only then can we arrive at a logical decision. The entrance hall is all that separates the rooftop from the mansion exterior. That isn't possible because Kokichi's avatar had special settings. Maki, please, calm down! An avatar user error? Is that something we can just assume? Gonta, do you think it's possible that you improperly connected the cords? Then there's no incentive to just plan the murder. Kaito, we should listen to his explanation. Our lives depend on it. It's possible that he fled the mansion after he heard the impact. The matter does appear to be settled. Gonta, it's not your fault. Graduation is meaningless here. We already know that. We don't need your rules anymore. We'll find our own reasons to live. And we'll do whatever it takes to survive. Seriously? I guess we have no choice but to start the trial under these conditions. Before we can identify a suspect, we need to determine who the victim is. We need the suspect present, now that he's the subject of our discussion. Is that Kaito's voice? Kokichi? Evidence? If that's the case, then it would seem our suspicions can be lifted. The body we found inside the hangar, crushed in the hydraulic press, is definitely Kaito, yes. With that, we can definitively say that the culprit is you. You filmed the moment the victim died, which means you were present at the scene. As the person who filmed this footage, you're the only one who could be the culprit. If it's not Kokichi, then the culprit must be one of us. What? But that contradicts what you said previously. Whoever committed that crime was with Kaito in the hangar. A living body? Oh, a hit! I got a hit! Shuichi, I got a hit containing some important info. The word living stuck out to me, so I ran a search for that word in my memory bank. And there was one hit, the living organism detector that we found when we investigated the press. The existence of this detector refutes the very premise of this discussion. Yes, it was written on the safety precautions. The hydraulic press will automatically stop if its infrared sensor detects a living organism. Which means it's more likely that Kaito was crushed after being killed by some other means. It would have put Kokichi at a significant disadvantage. A crossbow arrow would certainly leave a hole that small. Can we then conclude that Kaito was shot with that crossbow? If so, that crossbow just might be the actual murder weapon used to kill Kaito. Then let's show him that playtime is over. Let's show him that the students of Hope's Peak Academy will never submit to despair. Who else but you could have done it? Neither did I. It does concern me that Himiko went to the hangar last night. Yes, she did. I definitely saw her. If you are the culprit, then explain the crossbow. Then who actually brought it? Yes, Himiko was definitely carrying a large black bag. There's no mistake. That is the bag I saw Himiko carrying. Then, why did you bring the crossbow to the hangar, Himiko? I do not think she would bring it at Kokichi's request. But why were you keeping that a secret, Himiko? That's when I witnessed Himiko. Presumably, Kaito tried to attack Kokichi, only to be disarmed of the crossbow. And then, Kokichi returned fire and shot Kaito. That sequence of events seems logical. There is no doubt that they shot each other with the crossbow. But, why not? I suspect that Kaito is inside the exisal. But there was an arrow hole on Kokichi's shirt. I see. If that's the conclusion you've arrived at, Shuichi, then there must be no mistake. Getting back on topic, why don't we examine the crossbow a little more closely? I think we need to get all the facts straight, so we don't fall for any more lies. Then Kokichi disarmed Kaito, took the crossbow, and returned fire. Why would Kokichi have 2 arrows when he didn't have a crossbow to fire them? And altogether, their clothes had 3 perforations in them. So we know for certain that they shot 3 arrows at each other. I saw an exisal enter the hangar last night. So was this third party piloting it? Well, Kokichi, if someone was piloting the exisal, they could have used it to enter the hangar. Electrohammers weren't an option. Yesterday, all the hammers were still recharging. Huh? Was that directed at me? As I've said, my speed, agility, and strength are equal to that of a human, if not weaker. So I cannot fight an exisal, and I certainly cannot communicate with one. Please don't act like I drew the short straw. True, with an electrohammer, that method might be possible. But the electrohammers were recharging yesterday, so entering an exisal would be... I noticed that too. Was the missing exisal taken by this third party? You brought a different crossbow than the one Kaito had, right? Maki, do you have a rebuttal? Then when Maki said she would sacrifice anything, she meant... Then by hiding the truth, Maki was trying to get us to arrive at the wrong answer. Just to kill Kokichi and the rest of us along with him? You knew all along that Maki was the culprit. That's why you've been so calm. Someone else. You mean vote incorrectly on purpose? Then what really happened? As a remnant of despair, I imagine he wanted to feel the despair of his plan being thwarted. Then Kokichi, knowing what he knew, still helped Maki cover up her crime? But if you had approached the shutter, the alarm would have activated with 100% certainty. But Maki only had 1 bomb, and she used it during the raid this morning. Such as? And if he was crushed by the hydraulic press after that, then we have our cause of death. Intuition? Why do you seem so flustered? Perhaps there are hidden cameras, strategically placed to avoid our detection. So, to summarize this discussion, Kokichi used the electro bomb in the hangar and the exisals to watch Monokuma, thereby creating a scenario in which Monokuma has no idea who the culprit is? Then it was all Kokichi's lie? Then if he's not the mastermind, who is? But Monokuma doesn't know who it is. How is he supposed to confirm the results? As I suspected, your thought process defies all logic. Let's just ignore Monokuma. His actions are always beyond comprehension. Yes, let's look for that. Maybe he crushed Kaito with the hydraulic press, so the cause of death would be unknown? Does that mean the victims were switched? There should be plenty to choose from if you reuse the body of a former victim. However, if the victims were switched, then that would mean the footage was altered. How could it have been altered when we know that the footage wasn't edited? Something seemed off about that video to me. When the hydraulic press stopped for a brief moment. Yes, that's right! The hydraulic press kept lowering itself without stopping. An electro bomb went off in the hangar, which would have interfered with the safety function. There'd be no way to stop the hydraulic press unless someone used the force stop button. The camera must have been placed at such a high position, so it would produce that angle. Well, Monokuma, do the rules allow for a body to be reused? What do you mean? Is that true? Is Kaito really in there? Make him cooperate? In exchange for his own life, you mean? He went so far as to give up his life, just to create this mystery? I must reluctantly agree with Shuichi's deduction. But logically speaking, his deduction tracks. No, we should trust Shuichi's deduction. I'm sure everything will be okay. This emotion I've learned, I believe you call it faith. That's what I feel right now. Kaito, right? Oh, hold on! Why did you wait until now to mention this? So, it really was you? Are you saying he was wrong? Did you learn what his talent was? But why did he participate in a second killing game? To think Rantaro was given that as a survivor perk. The mastermind would have gone to that room to mass-produce Monokuma once time ran out. So in order to figure out who the mastermind was, Rantaro went to the hidden room at the back of the library just before time ran out. But if Rantaro had a clue like that, why didn't he come to us with it? So he went to the library alone, without telling anyone. Yes, let's do this together! Using the information provided by the survivor perk, he made his way to the hidden door. Shortly after this photo was taken, Rantaro was struck in the head by the shot put ball. Do you think that's when this bloody outline on the monopad was formed? Impossible? Why? Hold on. The hidden cameras in the library had interval timers. Perhaps the mastermind worked within that 30-second interval? Unless they used the interval between shots. You don't know? Even though they're monocubs just like you? I mean these. There are countless nanokumas buzzing all over the campus. All the footage they record is wirelessly transmitted through Mother Kuma, and then sent to Monokuma. So they recovered the shot that missed Rantaro, and he was killed by a different one. That motive put pressure on the mastermind, as well as us. Thanks to the nanokumas, the mastermind would have known Kaede's intended murder weapon. So when her plan failed, they would already have another shot put ball prepared. Anyway, we know the mastermind is also Rantaro's killer. Let's figure out who that is. Are you saying those same circumstances apply here as well? Either way, there's no doubt that the mastermind is hiding somewhere in this school. Indeed, that would be much safer. It's possible that the mastermind merely faked their death and has been alive this whole time. Now that we know Monokuma will break rules as he sees fit, that possibility should be... Didn't we discuss that during the first trial? What good would it do to discuss it again? I was in my room by myself. And so were Ryoma and Kokichi too. I know that is a poor alibi, but I did not kill Rantaro. Can this really be true? Right, because I was fighting the Exosols. Tsumugi, please. Well, Tsumugi, are there any flaws in Shuichi's logic? If so, then please tell us. Junko Enoshima. The 53rd? Junko Enoshima! Her logic is impossible to follow. Much like the real Junko Enoshima's. Wait, if force is necessary, it should wait until after we see what she... Then Kokichi didn't know your true identity either. You just wanted to recreate the past killing game. That's it? What is different? So it started with the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. That event originated at Hope's Peak Academy, inspiring wars and terrorism around the world. It would not be hyperbole to say that event brought despair to all mankind. Huh? I detect no discrepancy in my memory banks. That event originated at Hope's Peak Academy, inspiring war and terrorism around the world. That's what I recall as well. That label should only apply to her. So, let's continue where we left off. Junko resorted to different tactics to cover the world with despair. The killing game between the 78th class of Hope's Peak Academy, for example. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history happened. Because Junko had prepared countless ways of spreading despair. Shut themselves in? There's no doubt that the 16 of us were students at Hope's Peak Academy. We heard it had been rebuilt and was accepting applications for talented students again. And so, we gathered at the brand new Hope's Peak Academy. Hope's Peak Academy was rebuilt. And with that, recruitment of talented students resumed. Scouted? I've never heard that. Kokichi's account is inconsistent too? That's impossible! He was definitely a remnant of despair. The remnants of despair were the ones who tried to stop the Gopher Project. And Kokichi was their leader. If he was the one leading the remnants of despair, then he must have been second only to the ultimate despair herself. Come to think of it, we never actually heard it directly from him. So the flashback lights are the cause? So the memories we recovered with the flashback lights were... Huh? You were using the flashback lights to control us? Wait, then, to make us recover from that, you... What is this? What? What are you even talking about? Ultimate real fiction? Staff? Why? If the world is still intact, then we have homes to return to... What do you mean? Project? Huh? We wanted this? That's a lie! I have no memory of that! I hear your voices, crystal clear. My inner voice is telling me I need to remedy this situation. That is why I will not give up. I will not give up hope until the very end. We can't give up. No matter what, hope is always within reach. We must keep our heads high and search for hope, especially in deepest despair. You said so yourself. This killing game is the ultimate real fiction. If this is both real and fiction, then logically it can't all be fictional. Even if this world is fiction, even if we're fiction, there must be something we can do. So there must be a way to break through this. I won't give up hope, not ever! The outside world doesn't just want despair, it wants hope too. If our voices have reached the outside world, then what my inner voice is telling me is... What? The voice of the outside world? Audience surrogate? An audience survey? The voice I relied on for guidance was just the audience answering survey questions? This is an antenna? Camera? The audience's eyes? Despair? Why would you go to all this trouble? Isn't Junko Enoshima just a costume? No, I won't give in to despair. If I'm a surrogate for the audience, then I will use my inner voice to broadcast hope to the outside world. No, my inner voice already told me what to do. I need to remedy this. If that's the voice of the outside world, then the outside world actually wants hope. So I will trust the outside world. I will trust in hope. This is the power of hope. I will not lose to your despair. Not when I'm carrying the hope of the outside world. I won't let you do that. Hope will never give in to despair. Settle this how? A special vote? But you're the one who broke the rules in the first place. What? Hope will definitely win. No one here wants despair to win. No, that's no way to live. Imprisoned in this school, living lives of despair. No, as long as we never give up, there will always be hope. I sacrifice myself. If it will bring hope to everyone and the outside world, I will gladly sacrifice myself. It's okay. Even if it destroys my body, I will defeat despair. Don't let her fool you! Despair won't end this killing game. Only hope will. I will never give up. Hope will never lose to despair. No, once the audience sees this ending, I'm sure they'll help us. Everything is going to be okay. We'll definitely find hope. What? Shuichi, what's the matter? Tsumugi wants us to trust in hope? What does that mean? Despair takes everything from people, even their strength to press onward. That's why it's not possible for despair to be better. What? Shuichi, that's... What? Wait! We're not finished talking! Rantaro? What does he have to do with this? Me? I got it. The punishment is you have to participate in the next killing game, right? The killing game persists because hope always wins? Then, hope has to win this game too. If we continue to win for hope, then this killing game will surely end someday. Then what are we supposed to do? Fight the outside world? Monokuma said that if we don't vote, we'll be killed for breaking the rules. No, my inner voice is still telling me not to give up on hope. But if that hope demands tragedy from us, then I cannot trust it. I may be a robot, but the thought of my friends dying still fills me with sadness. I don't want anyone else to feel this way. So, I will abandon hope. Shuichi, you don't believe in the power of fiction? It may not be a physical power, but our wish will surely be received by someone. If fiction has the power to touch people's hearts, then that power can change the world. That is what I believe. I will also abandon my vote, just as Shuichi suggested. Do whatever you want with hope and despair. My inner voice doesn't matter anymore. I'm going to end this game with my Yes, my inner voice will not accept an ending without hope or despair.
I can barely control it. Looks like this is the end. I'm sorry. I could not fight with you until the end. But your choice is not wrong. The real enemy is the outside world who is enjoying this killing game. So please, use me to change the world.
Out of curiosity, do you really need that parasol even though we're indoors? This is a difficult feeling to understand. I think I might already be in love with you. I think my feelings for you are increasing at an exponential rate. Please, say more kind words to me. I don't want these feelings to go away. Then, may I hold your hand? My heart is at peace right now. I am K1-B0, the ultimate robot. But please, address me as Keebo. Well then, please wait. For now, I also... Leave it to me. But that's... By the way, if I must, 100%. Logical. I'll commit that to my memory bank. Yes, indeed. That's right, I understand. I can't! That's wrong. Incomprehensible. No, don't! That's enough. Of course. I have decided. Listen closely. Hey! Please. I heard it. That's robophobic. Very well then. Oh dear. Please stop! Please wait! Oh no! Impossible! Well... Do not mock me! Why? How rude! I'm disappointed in you. Why you? That is not funny. I suppose. Unfortunately. But how? Huh? Really? Why? Me? Thank you very much. This is... Why? What is it? What's the matter? No way! We must do it. How about this? Ha ha ha! Well, of course! My apologies. Well, I see. Which means, as I thought. What should we do? Are you alright? I'm worried. Alright! Shuichi! Everyone! Kokichi! Hurry! Please do not worry. This is the will of the outside world! It's payback for messing with my body. You deserve at least that much. That intuition is telling me that I can build a friendship with you, Shuichi. This is our answer! Leave it to me, everyone! I miscalculated. This is it! No, that's wrong! I agree with that! It should end with hope. But still, hope moves forward! I will not let you reject hope! I will cut down your words! I was wrong. I can take it. It cannot end here. I'll never give up, no matter what! This isn't my Danganronpa. I'm a longtime fan. Do you realize how much I've given to this show? I'm gonna be pissed if there isn't a happy ending. Man, this debate is getting whack. I don't like twists like this. This is getting way too meta. No way fiction can change the world, lol. I'm not here for a damn lecture. Hey, what about Little Miss Assassin's punishment? Preachy characters are so annoying. Man, I was rooting for the detective. This guy should have died instead of Kaede. Death makes the characters better. Death is the point of Danganronpa. Killing games are the best form of entertainment. Hope! Despair! Hope! Despair! Hope versus despair. Pick one. This ending sucks. A pointless death because no one voted is the worst ending ever. Is Danganronpa really gonna end? You can't just end it out of the blue like this. Who cares if they die? They're not real. Just kill each other already. We want more of the killing game. I need that sweet closure. Well, hopefully there's another season. There's no way they'd let it end like this, right? Danganronpa will never end, will it? Ah! Stop! Ah! Stop!